Kendrick's killing him.
Influence.
I see dead people. I see dead people. I see dead people.
When you hear the rest of the song, this is crazy. Yeah, I'd say Kendrick is up right now. He's calling him a pedophile.
Just make sure you hide your little sister from him.
Ooh, trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor.
A minor.
Ooh, you have an illegitimate daughter, you're a pedophile.
Certified lover boy.
You groom women.
Certified boogeyman.
And then Drake's comeback was, I don't have an 11-year-old daughter.
A daughter that's 11 years old.
This is crazy.
Not concerned with investigation.
Hey, bro, address the other shit.
Just make sure you hide your little sister from him.
What's good, fam? I just rewatched that old Joe Rogan episode where they talk about the Drake versus Kendrick beef. And bruh, I ain't gonna lie, Joe accidentally bodied Drake worse than Kendrick did. And he wasn't even trying. He ain't break down bars. He ain't analyze no flow. He just asked one question and it made Drake look guilty as hell. After that, you realize real quick, Drake ain't built for this kind of beef. Kendrick came with fire, but Joe, he came with truth. And Drake got exposed in 4K.
No. You're not dragging me into this nonsense.
No, it's at this point, it's crazy. I've never seen a rap beef like this.
So I was chilling the other night, just scrolling through some old podcast clips on YouTube, trying to find something to throw on in the background. And I stumbled on that Joe Rogan episode where they started talking about the whole Drake and Kendrick beef. You know the one. At first, I ain't think nothing of it. Like this old, but I was bored, so I clicked. Man, I did not expect what I saw. I thought it was gonna be Joe playing clueless, maybe some half-informed jokes about who dropped the better diss track, something surface level. But what I got instead, Joe Rogan, out of nowhere, casually exposing Drake harder than half the industry's done all year, and he ain't even mean to.
Because, he's calling him a pedophile in the song, literally. You have an illegitimate daughter, you're a pedophile, you groom women. And then Drake's comeback was, I don't have an 11-year-old daughter. Nobody gives a about what? He called you a pedophile, man.
Yeah, a dad is not a bad thing to be, buddy.
That's what made it worse. Joe ain't walking there trying to take sides. He don't even claim to be a part of the culture like that. He was literally trying to dodge the conversation at first. Like when they brought up the beef, he was like, nah, you ain't dragging me into that nonsense. You could tell he ain't deep into the rap game. He ain't bumping like that in the Tesla or breaking down flows on Twitter. But even still, once they actually explained what Kendrick said in them tracks, once they broke down how personal it got, you could see Joe lean in. His whole body language shifted. That man got quiet, and not in a jokey way, in that wait, this is serious kind of way.
He brought together like the Bloods, the Crips from all the different neighborhoods, and everybody was on stage just partying.
Really?
Singing all the songs he shit on Drake with.
Wow. And they all at the same time go, minor.
And let's be real, Kendrick ain't play no games. He accused Drake of being a groomer, a predator, said he had a secret daughter. Bro, that's not just rap bars. That's not just sneak disses for sport. That's real world accusations that could destroy a man's entire legacy if they stick. Kendrick ain't say he fell off. He ain't call him soft. He ain't mentioned streams or pop records. He came at Drake as a man, and when Joe heard all that, he reacted like any real grown man would. Confused, concerned, and straight up stunned that Drake's only comeback was, I don't have an 11-year-old daughter. That's when it really hit me. Joe didn't even try to clown Drake, but he ended up saying the most disrespectful line in the whole conversation. All he did was look around the room and say, but he called you a pedophile, and the room got quiet. No punchline, no skit, just a dead, serious pause that hung in the air. And I swear that silence, it said more than Kendrick's whole second verse. Because everybody in that moment realized Drake dodged the real accusation. He gave a legal, safe, media-trained answer that avoided the heart of what Kendrick said.
He did a whole long-ass concert, and he did Not Like Us like 6 times.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna just need a moment of silence for this.
And Joe, without even trying, exposed that. What made it even colder is how casual Joe was about it. He wasn't hyped, he wasn't shouting, he wasn't trying to go viral. It was just facts, just truth. And sometimes that's worse than a diss track. When someone so far outside the game looks at the situation and can immediately spot the weakness. No emotion, no bias, just clarity. That hit harder than any diss Drake dropped, and way harder than his little I'm not a dad defense. Because if you really didn't do what Kendrick said, if you were really standing on innocence, you'd come back swinging, you'd clear your name with your chest, you wouldn't tiptoe around the bar like it was some throwaway line. But Drake did. He left it floating in the air like he was hoping folks would forget about it. And then Joe took it deeper. He started speaking on the energy of the beef itself, and bro, he was spot on. He said straight up, this ain't feel like fun anymore. This ain't Jay-Z versus Nas. This ain't even Pac and Biggie. This ain't two rap giants trying to outbar each other for the culture. This is something uglier, darker, personal. Joe said it felt like there's real pain behind the bars now, And I felt that.
How crazy is this beef? It never ends.
Well,
This beef is going on forever.
you fuck with the wrong.
Yeah, that's the wrong guy. He has more credibility,
I don't
right?
think Drake could do that in Toronto.
No.
You know, like in his own. You know, I don't know. Maybe.
You can hear it in Kendrick's voice. The way he raps about power, control, women, manipulation. It's not just for shock value. That man got a message. He trying to get off his chest. He rapping like he's speaking for people. He rapping like he's sick of the fakeness and done being quiet. Now compare that to Drake. What do you hear in his verses? Jokes, deflections, corny flexes, gaslighting. I'm not a dad instead of I'm not a predator. Punchlines about streams instead of accountability. You can't hear no truth in his tone. It's all image protection, all brand management. Like he trying to spin a PR disaster instead of responding to a challenge. Drake rapping like he afraid of what comes next. Kendrick rapping like he already accepted the consequences. And again, Joe saw that. He called it out without even saying names. That's what made it powerful. And then Joe hit on the part nobody talks about in these beefs. What happens after? He starts going off about how in real life, folks don't think about where beef ends. You throw a punch in the street, you think it's over, but it ain't. Now you got a man who gonna wait, who gonna plot, who might not come back with fists. That's what Joe said, and you could tell he ain't just talking theory. That's real life experience speaking. And when you apply that to this beef, it get real spooky. Cause Kendrick clearly done crossed the line that you don't just step over and come back from. He said, shit that don't get unsaid. And if Drake don't respond with substance, with clarity, with something real, he gonna be looking over his shoulder. Not just at Kendrick, but at his own fans, his own reputation, and the people who've been side-eyeing him for years. And that's when it really settled in for me. Drake ain't built for this kind of war. He built for playlists, for vibes, for emotionally safe songs about heartbreak and vacation drama. But this right here, this is about who you are when the lights cut off and the lights just got real dark. And then out of nowhere, Joe and the crew start talking about what would happen if Drake and Kendrick ran into each other in real life. That's when it got real funny, but also real telling. One of them was like, man, Drake would destroy Kendrick. He's a tiny little dude. And Joe kind of laughs, but you can tell he don't even believe that. He's smirking like, yeah, okay. Like it's just a surface level joke to dodge the fact that deep down, we all know Kendrick ain't scared of no physical smoke. That man's spirit hit different. And Drake, he too image obsessed to even look mad without rehearsing it. But what they said after that hit harder than the joke itself. Joe starts going off about how today's rappers just soft. Ain't no bark behind the bars no more. Ain't no real energy. He ain't saying Drake's name directly, but we know who he's talking about. Rappers now paint their nails, tweet passive aggressively, and cry about everything but the real ish. And Drake is the poster child for that whole movement. Sensitive King, IG captions, bikinis in the Bahamas. It's all vibes until somebody pressed you about real life behavior. And then it's, that's not who I am. That was taken out of context. I'm just misunderstood. And that's when I realized Joe said more with his tone than he ever did with his words. He wasn't just talking about Drake in that convo. He was talking about a whole energy Drake represents. The polished, fragile masculinity, the hurt me, but I still love you type of raps. The man who cries in the booth and hides behind fame when things get too personal. Drake ain't the type to stand tall when you call out his character. He the type to dodge, distract, and dance around the real issue like he on a press run. And Joe picked up on that. You could feel it. And that's what made this whole segment so damn heavy. He's not a hip hop head, but he's a truth teller. And the truth ain't got no genre. Then they start going deep on what could have been. Like, yo, these dudes made 8 tracks dissing each other, 4 apiece. That's basically a collab album, but made out of venom instead of vision. And one of Joe's boys says something that really stuck with me. He's like, imagine if they used this energy for something bigger. Imagine if they dropped 8 songs aimed at the war in Palestine, or what's going on in the streets, or the industry mess they both came up in. And I sat there like, damn, for real. These are 2 of the most gifted artists in a generation. And instead of speaking to the world, they out here trying to destroy each other with lyrical grenades and personality shade. Now Kendrick, he's still Kendrick. Still got his pen, still got purpose. He could switch it up tomorrow and drop an album that make folks cry and protest in the same week. But Drake done showed his ceiling. He's stuck in this glass box he built himself, trying to be the cool guy, the lover boy, the pop rap legend who never gets touched. But that's why he falling apart now, because Kendrick ain't battling the image, he battling the man behind it. And Drake ain't ready for that. Joe knew it. That's the wildest part. He didn't need no chart numbers, no industry tea, no deep cut references. He just listened, sat back, and said what most folks too scared to admit, that this beef don't feel fun, that Drake looking shook, that the energy ain't genuine, and that when it comes to realness, the person who wins ain't the one with the slickest bar, but the one who stands on truth when it gets uncomfortable. And in this beef, it's clear who that is. Joe didn't need to crown Kendrick. He didn't need to drag Drake, but he saw the difference. And now that I've rewatched it, I see it too. This ain't just about music anymore. This about legacy. And the moment Kendrick pressed him on who he really is, Drake ain't step up. He shrunk. So now I gotta ask y'all, where do you stand? Cause I'm watching this play out and it don't look like a battle. It look like an unmasking. And if this, the energy Drake bringing to the war, he already lost. Let me know in the comments. Did Joe say what needed to be said? Or y'all still holding out hope that Drake gonna actually respond to the real accusations? Cause from where I'm standing, it's looking like Kendrick exposed him and Joe Rogan confirmed it.